and good morning if you're just welcoming. If you're just joining us, welcome. This is I Radio, WEXI 102.3 FM. I am Robert Barnes in Miami. This is the Fresh Start program. On the phone line this morning with us is Mr. Michael Gillie Heron. He is the CEO of Forged by Time Limited, and he's also the author of the best-selling book, Forged by Time. Good morning, Michael.
Yeah, good morning to everyone. Yes, Brethren, blessed love to everyone.
And as most people know you by the name of Gillie Priest.
Yeah, man.
Gillie Priest, you have a very important conference coming up next month, 17th of August.
Surely.
And I see great things happening at this conference. It's going to be at 10-12 North Parade, the Simon Boulevard Cultural Center. And we're going to take a break, Gillie.
Yeah.
In a few minutes, I'll give you a heads up on that. But in the meantime, just bring us up to speed on who Gillie Priest is and tell us a little bit about the book. And then when we come back from the break, we'll ask you to give us an update, an overview, and exactly where you are with the conference coming up on August 17th. But for now, Gillie Priest, we'll pretend that this is the first time I'm interviewing you on I Radio, which it isn't, but we'll go ahead and pretend. Good morning to our radio listeners. I present to you Mr. Gillie Priest.
All right. For those who are for the first time, maybe coming across my name, so I'm Michael Gillie Heron. Traveled back and forth since 1965 to the United States. Was incarcerated in the United States innocently for 45 years, basically in New York State. And over the years of my incarceration, I kind of, in adjacent to trying to prove my innocence, I struggled to develop myself politically, consciously, and everything. And that at the end of that sentence was where I wrote my autobiography, Forged by Time. I was released last year, May, was when I was deported, returned to Jamaica. And since then, I've been involved in trying to create an organization and trying to alleviate the suffering of those people who are ignominiously classified within the society as deportees. So I've been involved still in trying to alleviate the suffering of the imprisoned, both in the United States and right here down here in Jamaica. So we established a Forged by Time organization, and to put this on the national and the international level. Coming August 17, we'll be having our first annual opening conference of the Forged by Time Limited at 10-12 North Parade in Kingston, Jamaica. And that is what I basically engage and involved in now, trying to assist the deported community who was deported back to Jamaica, and at the same time trying to assist people who are incarcerated in the United States, specifically for this moment in New York, and assisting some in Florida, and assisting prisoners who are incarcerated in Jamaica, who are basically going through some barbaric conditions down here in Jamaica. You wouldn't believe the conditions under which these brethren and sisters are incarcerated in Jamaica. So there's some mind there, there's some effort there, there's some time there, and hopefully we can alleviate some of the conditions of the deportees and those who are incarcerated as we build the foundation of our movement, because eventually our intention is to make this a movement, to make this not only a regional and international movement, but to basically take it global, to build and stand on something that can improve the lives of the people and the nation and the race and everything. Yes, my brother.
And if you're just joining us, our guest this morning is Michael Gillie Heron. He's the author of the best-selling book, Forged by Time, and he's also the CEO of Forged by Time Limited. Now, Gillie Priest, actually 2 weeks or so, over 2 weeks before the conference. As I said, we're going to take a break in about 6 minutes. So we have about 6 or 5 minutes to continue before we take that break. Tell us a little bit more about the years that you spent in incarceration, and with this conference, was that one of the biggest accomplishments that you set out to achieve while you were incarcerated. Is this conference one of those products of those 45 years of thought and reasoning? What do you have to say about that, Gillie?
All right. During the incarcerated period, right? Me personally got imprisoned in the United States in 1979. And if I could give it some quantification and context, I would say I was like the second wave, speaking in terms of wave. Because for those who ever study incarceration and imprisonment in the United States, they tend to take place in waves historically for certain people, speaking of what you refer to in the United States as minority. And then you can start to classify it after a while based upon ethnicity. So me was like a second wave of Jamaican that got mass incarcerated in the United States in the 70s. We're talking about a period of time, for those who can recall and recollect, when you had brazen racism within the entire judicial system, within the entire penal system. When the system went unchecked, when the courts, the police officers in the street, the correctional officers, these were institutions that were given permission by society to basically do anything to people who got caught up in their network, people who got caught up in the system that was being governed and called the judicial system. So there was a mass exploitation in the prison system at that time, and it still does. There was mass incarceration still taking place, because we have to remember that the institutions of imprisonment in the United States was what came out after the abolition of slavery. How do you regulate the bodies of black people? So we that went to the United States with this roses glasses believed that the streets were paved with gold, especially the young generation. We went there and came to a sad realization that it was something else. And when we went into the prison system, it was a mass wave, because we went in at a time when we were new in terms of culturally to the American system. They did not know how to deal with us culturally. They never knew how to deal with us as a people. So when we first got incarcerated, it was strangers dealing with strangers, and that was really brute force, or what the system believed that they could use brute force to better know us. So what we do as a people, we went in and realized that in order for us to withstand the brutality of the system, we had to organize within the prison system. So basically, we established what was known and still known today in the prison system up there as the Caribbean African Unity Organization. And here was where we were able to meet as Caribbean peoples, where we can socialize, where we could plot, where we could scheme in order to better our condition, and not necessarily to do anything negative, because I use the term plot and scheme, because you still have to plot and scheme to do things that is also positive. And that was our intent, and that was what we did. And during that challenge, we found out that to protect some of our rights, we had to seek our First Amendment protection. We had to seek protection of our religious means. We have to seek protection of our spiritual aspects of our life. So we took it to court, and this famous court case that was ruled upon, and it was taken all the way up to the United States Supreme Court, was Benjamin versus Cogley. And there was another case, Lewis versus, I don't remember the second part of that name. So we fought the system judicially, we fought the system physically, we fought the system culturally. Because one thing I would like to point out, when the first wave of Caribbean people started to go in the prison system, late 60s in the United States of America in general, and in New York State in specifically, we went in there and encountered a system that was basically established for the Irish and the Italian, And what I mean by that, most of the people that was incarcerated before we began being incarcerated on a mass level were Italians and Irish. So the food was Italian and Irish. The radio stations in the prison system was Italian, and everything was Italian and Irish. We were neglected and unrecognized as a collective people culturally. So we had to take on the buckle for all of that, my brother. So that was when we come out and keep the buckle going.
Okay, Gillie, we're going to stop it there for a moment. And what we're going to do is take a break in a few minutes. And as a matter of fact, in a few seconds, we'll pick up on the interview with my guest this morning, Gillie. Good morning and welcome. If you're just joining us, the time is 7:33. You're tuned to I&I Radio, WEXI 102.3 FM. I'm your host, Robert Barnes, and this is the First Start program. On the phone lines this morning, we have Mr. Michael Gillie Heron. He is the CEO of Forged by Time Limited and also the author of the best-selling book, Forged by Time. Once again, good morning, Gillie, and welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thanks for this opportunity.
And right off the bat, Gillie, would you go ahead and give us that contact information for Forged by Time Limited, please, and the upcoming conference? Give us some information on your contact information.
Most definitely. Our contact information in 876-880-0827, and we can be reached at that number at any time of day or night. 876-880-0827. Also, we may be emailed at forgedbytimelimited@gmail.com. FORGED by time limited@gmail.com. Once again with the phone number 876-880-0827, and by email at forgedbytimelimited@gmail.com. And we may also be personally liaison with each other and meeting at where we are presently allowed to meet at 131 Tower Street, that's in Kingston, Jamaica, by the corner of basically Tower Street and Duke Street. And we do meetings there by appointment. So if you like to meet with us to discuss anything in person, first you contact us at 880-0827, and we will set an appointment, and this will take place on Tuesdays, anytime between 9 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. In terms of our development, where we be so far, well, when you plan things of the magnitude, you have to deal with the nuts and bolts of it. And we have really basically covered the nuts and bolts, reaching out to people, sending out invitation, organizing the program, dealing with the whatever little gratuitous things we may provide in terms of food and drinks for the people. All of that is kind of basically out of the way. We are just seeking now second confirmation of people who have already confirmed their intention to attend. And I'll tell you one development that took place in this last week. I went over by Camp Road to discuss with some people some unrelated issues, and unbeknown to me, because I've met with these people twice before on a radio station down here, Best FM 100. So they had given me the opportunity to basically promote this upcoming conference again that take place August 17 at 10-12 North Parade in Kingston. And in a basically relaxing conversation with them last Sunday, by happenstance I found out that these same virgins are the executive for the Marcus Garvey People's Political Party in Jamaica. A very young guy by the name of Antoine Campbell. He's the president, and it was very amazing to me that I had gotten this opportunity to meet this virgin, because even during my time of incarceration, it was my desire and intent to liaison with this political party, based on the fact that it has a historical foundation in this country. It was founded by the Honorable Marcus Garvey, and it was the first political organization that took place in Jamaica, I think in maybe about 1928. So just to have the opportunity to meet the executive, and then I took the second opportunity of inviting them to come and be a guest speaker at the Forged by Time conference coming up, and they have graciously accepted. So I'm pleased and I'm glad to announce that the president of the Marcus Garvey People's Political Party will be one of our guest speakers, and he's basically coming there to show how his political party would be able and will be able to assist returning residents, and to establish up a more firmer platform and association with our type of people. When I say our type of people, I'm speaking of specifically the deportees and the incarcerated, and what they may be able to do in building their platform and taking us into consideration. So that was a big development of this past week. As you all know, in Jamaica now, today is a major holiday for the next week, talking about from August 1st to the 6th, because it commences with Emancipation Day in Jamaica and runs right through to August 6th with national independence. So in terms of physically going to spaces and meeting with people and organize, it's going to be a little bit slow this week because of the entire holiday week in Jamaica. But whatever can be done on the phone and whatever we can do promotion-wise, like I am doing now, we will try to continue to do it. But like I said, it's a sprint to the finish now. It's a sprint to August 17, and what will be done will be done. We just tighten up all of the little loose end them now, my brother.
Well, if you're just joining us, our guest this morning is Michael Gillie Heron. He's the author of the best-selling book, Forged by Time, and he's also the host and CEO of the big event coming up August 17th, and that is the first annual Global Deportee Conference, August 17th at 10-12 North Parade. That's the Simon Boulevard Cultural Center. We will return with our conversation with Michael Gillie Heron right after this. Good morning and welcome if you're just joining us. This is I&I Radio, WEXI 102.3 FM. Let's return to our conversation with Michael Gillie Heron. He's the author of the best-selling book Forged by Time, and he's also the host, and he is the CEO of Forged by Time Limited, which is hosting the first annual Global Deportee Conference coming up August 17th at 10-12 North Parade. That's the Simon Boulevard Cultural Center in Kingston, Jamaica. Good morning once again, Michael.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning to each and everyone here.
Before we took the break, we were talking about the advancement and the generation, the support that is generating a lot of actions behind the scenes for the conference. You mentioned now, Gillie, that you have an office space on Tuesdays at Tower Street, and that's good news for you, right?
Yeah, man, most definitely, man. Because before that, we had to be meeting in a what you call in other places where sometimes we met at each other's houses. Sometimes we would meet in the park in downtown Kingston, depends on the time and place that available. But now, based upon the gratitudeousness of Jamaica for Justice and the Jamaican Council of Human Rights, they have been graciously giving us the opportunity where we are allowed to meet within their office space. And this is the building which is the Jamaica Legal Clinic. That is mostly known, the building is recognized as the Jamaica Legal Clinic, and it's based again 131 Tower Street. And we are given the opportunity, and we do meet here on Tuesdays from 9 in the morning to 3 in the evening. And there is where we carry out our executive function. There is where we are able to even provide what them call the Justice of the Peace services. In America, it's basically referred to as the notary. We provide Justice of the Peace services where you get documents notarized in terms of dealing with identification, passports, and any type of government documents that needs to be signed by a Justice of the Peace. So we provide a wider basis than just liaisoning with people who are dealing with just deportees and people who are incarcerated. And it's given us a great opportunity where we are able to meet and sit in comfort and be comfortable and able to better discuss issue and don't feel pressure in terms of time and space. We are given access to water, light, internet services and stuff like that. And on our part, in order to show our gratitude towards it, we have to make a little contribution to using the space, but it was not technically required of us, but out of understanding and rational, and then we understand that we can do that and we should do that and we are supposed to do that. So in order to return the gratitude that has been bequeathed to us by the Jamaica for Justice and the Jamaican Council of Human Rights. And we hope that one day in the future we'll be able to acquire our own space, acquire our own building, because the end of the day, Forged by Time Limited is a for-profit organization where we can build a profit base in order to employ people coming out of prison, employ people who are being deported, because to keep it straight, my brethren, people in this society is not too taken to people who coming out of prison and people who are deported. A lot of the brethren and sisters who are being returned to Jamaica, returned from incarceration right here in Jamaica, are unemployed. The vast majority are unemployed. They do what they call in Jamaica arc and pedaling. They buy a little this and buy a little that and try to work and sell it on the street. You know, so we have a great vision. We are trying to do great things, and this conference being put on August 17 at the Simon Bubakon is the kicking off the foundation, the first annual. It's going to be a foundation upon which everything else that we do in the future stand.
I understand, Gillie. The time is 7:45, 8 o'clockers. You have 15 minutes to get there. Hopefully you're getting there safely and in fine style. We're getting reports that 7 o'clockers and the 6 o'clockers are in place. Everything is going well for them. As we take a look on the highways and the byways, so far everything is running as scheduled. No real major incidents to report. If so, it will be breaking news. Coming up after the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to be talking about the death toll of over 200 babies at the Victoria Jubilee Hospital in Kingston, Jamaica. I was born in that hospital, and many of my friends and families were born at that hospital. We're going to talk about the deplorable conditions, the 200 deaths of babies. My colleague, Mr. C, broke the news here on I&I Radio last Saturday, and up to then, we haven't heard a peep or a squeak from any entity outside of I&I Radio covering this tragedy. Not saying that they haven't, we just are not hearing it. Returning to our conversation with Michael Gillie Priest Heron. Gillie Priest, the organization is so blessed so far for getting all the help that you have received, and we're getting closer to that date. And as always, we're giving you the strength and the support that we can give you.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that.
We being I&I Radio, we being I&I Radio, and Gillie, this is a labor of love for you.
Yeah, man.
There is no invested interest in this for you in terms of monetary.
Yeah, man. You got this
Swiss bank account after this conference. I know you're not gonna buy a Bentley after this conference. I know you're not gonna buy out the airlines. I know you're not gonna become the CEO of any money making bandoodle organization. You are a man of dignity and integrity, Gillie Priest. And with the handful of minutes that we have left in this interview, please just tell us again the buzz around the area, 10-12 North Parade. I know there's a lot of buzz going on downtown Kingston. There's buzz all around the island because this conference is going to put Jamaica on the map. Marcus Garvey did it, Bob Marley did it, and Gillie Priest Heron. I'm telling you, man, this conference is going to be big. So with the few minutes that we have left, just give us an overview again, your contact information, and exactly what you think people should expect on August 17th.
Yes, again, in terms of contact information, phone number 876-880-0827, 876-880-0827, and by email, forgedbytimelimited@gmail.com, FORGED bytimelimited@gmail.com. You see, a lot of things taking place organically down. Like you said, the climate right now down here is buzzing, not only about the conference, but we are in the middle of election and campaign that's taking place in Jamaica. The whole place is in that atmosphere of the campaign. August 17 is a celebration for those who recognize the birth strong of the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. August 17, and it is on that date we are keeping the conference, and it is at that date the president of the Marcus Garvey People's Political Party, will be speaking at our conference. So there's a culmination of things that's really creating an earthquake, a gigantic swelling. I've received contacts from basically from all the 14 parishes in Jamaica. I've received contacts about this conference from the United States, from English, from other European countries, as far away to even in Norway. I've been contacted by people in Norway who have an interest in this conference. We are expecting a good attendance, good turnout, good support. We still need support. Whoever can support us, even morally, financially, spiritually, we take any type of support we can get. Because like we said, this is a sprint to the wire. But the good thing about this conference was scheduled, and it's scheduled that it's taking place in the middle of a tumultuous time where people are thinking about culture, people are thinking about democracy, people are thinking about the change of government. So we are now a part of the general conversation within the climate that taking place in Jamaica around this time every year. Emancipation, and what we are dealing with in our situation is true emancipation. We are only a slice, a segment of that emancipation struggle, where we, the people who are found ourselves deported from various countries in the world, and people who are incarcerated right here in Jamaica and throughout. We all want emancipation, we all want freedom, we all want development, we all want to have a say in government. This time, August in Jamaica is that tumultuous time when all those different strands of interest that dealing with emancipation and freedom is pulled together and taking place and fighting for that space and fighting for recognition and fighting for development. Forged by Time Limited is now a part of that conversation. And for that, I'm very gracious and happy about that we are in the midst of this conversation, and people will be coming from all 14 parishes who have confirmed their intention to attend. People are coming from foreign countries, not necessarily to attend the conference. They are coming from foreign countries to deal with their personal business, and there are few promises that while they are here, they will attend. And we are also trying to find the technology and the people to set up I don't really know the technological term, but I'm just going to use the term Zoom for now. Live stream, where we will be able to live stream this event throughout the world, and then we to find people where we could able to send them, I think what it's termed, the link, so they can tune in. So people are very interested in this, and it's a bit surprising to me on one level that we are able to put on this function, because remember, coming out of the system, I come out here with the ideas, but lacking the skills of how to bring up something on this level. So I'm gracious to people even like yourself, Mr. Barnes, who is giving me the opportunity to promote this. Mr. C, also another virgin in the United States, I believe in Florida, is giving the opportunity to help promote it. Badass in England, Chihuahua, Rastaman down there in Georgia. People all over the world are giving me the support, whatever support them can give me in whatever era they give me, and that I'm very pleased and thankful for. And the members of our organization and corporation is thankful for that. Yes, my brethren.
If you're just joining us, my guest this morning is Michael Gillie Priest Heron. We'll return to our conversation right after this short break. Good morning and welcome if you're just joining us. This is I&I Radio, WEXI 102.3 FM. Let me reintroduce my guest. His name is Michael Gillie Priest Heron. He's the author of the best-selling book, Forged by Time. You can get that book on your major platforms, eBay, Amazon. He's also the host and the CEO of Forged by Time Limited. Forged by Time Limited presents the first annual Global Deportee Conference, August 17, 10-12 North Parade at the Salmon Boulevard Cultural Center. That's coming up on August 17th. With a handful of minutes, Gillie Priest, that we have, just give us your take and what you expect the day after the conference. What should we be talking about the day after the first annual Global Deportee Conference, which is on August 17th? But what should the world be talking about on August 18th, post the first annual Global Deportee Conference? All
right, thank you very much for that question. It's a very good question, because Forged by Time Limited, we are already going through a transition and planning the transition after the conference. Now, coming out at the very next day of the conference, we're talking about at the end of that conference, calling to a call of action, calling the members of the community, calling the members of those who were deported, calling upon the members of those who are being released from prison, a call to action. A call to action in terms of going out and advocating on behalf of Forged by Time Limited, making contacts with the relevant people to get doors open, going about the ways how they can straighten out the issues that they face in their life, because we will be going there to provide people with information in terms of their health issues, how to secure medication, how to secure a living space, how to basically get and deal with the present issue they are dealing, because people cannot deal with futuristic issues until they are able to address the present issue they face. And that is one of the fundamental things why we were invited people, and we have invited people who can divulge information, practical information, operational information. So when the brethren and sisters leave, they can come and straighten out their life at any stage where they find there as being a blockage. But like I said, we are really planning the transition, because we are going to come out of that conference with a momentum. And we cannot allow ourselves the luxury of coming out with a momentum, and that momentum to get dissipated, and then we get stalled, and then we find ourselves back into a rut. So we're going to come out of that conference, and like I said earlier, we are really going through the transition mentally. We are going to go into a fund driving mode. We need to raise funds. We're going to need a vehicle that we need to use, not only to transact business, but to be able to go to the airport and pick up the returning resident and deliver them to where they need to be delivered, especially those who will be seeking shelter. Tell the truth, right now, today, we are expecting someone who will be deported today, because for those who don't know, the flights of deportation to Jamaica to the from the United States take place every last Thursday. Now, since the inception of the Donald Trump second administration, they're having 2 flights now a month coming to Jamaica, on Tuesday and Thursday. So we are preparing where we can. We are making the transition out of the conference already. We are already planning the second stage to build upon the momentum, which is basically to eventually get our own space, where we can have our own space, and possibly even owning the space, because it's better when we own the space, where we will be able to develop the space to better accommodate people coming out of prison and people deported. And like I said earlier, securing a vehicle where we can use a vehicle to conduct business and to go and pick up the returning residents at the airport. We are going to try to secure land where we can start, because one of our main intention is to start agricultural base down here, where we can get involved in input. And fundamentally also, coming out of that conference is building a database. We need to collect the names and the contacts for the bridges and systems who will be coming there, find out what is their skill set, what tools they need, and build a database where we can try to provide them with employment, not only by ourselves, but reaching out to other business places and saying, here, we have a list of returning residents, we have a list of people coming out of the prison system. Here is their skill set, here are the tools that they already have, here are a list of the tools that they will need, and then we try to solicit tools, provide them. We want to come out of the conference, and we will come out of the conference hitting the ground running, both in long-term planning and short-term planning. Short-term is to basically build a database, provide them with employment, provide them with tools, while we are building the Forged by Time Limited, where we can create an industrial base where we will be carrying out the employment and be able to provide our own bedding spaces and so on. So, yeah, man, we have the future plan out in terms of coming out of the conference from the very day after the conference.
Good morning and welcome if you're just joining us. This is I&I Radio, WEXI FM 102.3. 102.3 FM, and we are speaking with Gillie Heron. He is the CEO of Forged by Time Limited and also the author of the best-selling book Forged by Time. With less than 30 seconds, Gillie, could you once again give us your contact information and just your last closing remarks, wrapping up this conversation?
Most definitely. Thanks again for this opportunity. Our phone contact 876-880-0827. Once again, 876-880-0827. By email, forgedbytimelimited@gmail.com. FORGED bytimelimited@gmail.com. And once again, August 17 at the Simon Boulevard Cultural 17 10-12 North Parade.
I have to stop you there, Gillie. I apologize. But we're coming up to the hour.
Okay.
Once again, Gillie Priest, August 17th. Thank you, Gillie, for giving us your time.
Bless it. Thank you, sir. Thank you, and thank your audience and your listening. Bless up.